that made him lose his stake. The moral of the story is being greedy will not bring you anywhere in life. Thank you.
And Grasshopper was lazy. In the cold winter, Grasshopper was shivered and hungry, but because of the ants. Ants have a food and Grasshopper doesn't have a food. Ants asked Grasshopper and Grasshopper was shivered, crying emotionally.
A big object. The object's name was a mountain. The mountain was towering strong above everything. He became the mountain, towering strong. No one could destroy him until a stone cutter came. With his hammer, he started chipping up.
Left. When they were walking and walking, they found a garden with a pond. The smallest pig was the laziest, so he made a house of straws. The middle child was also lazy, so he
Grass, and the smallest met with the monster. The monster said, "I'm gonna eat you." And the small pig said, "Don't eat me, eat the middlest pig. He is much more bigger than me." And the middlest pig came and said, the monster said, "I'm gonna eat you now." And the middlest pig also said, "Don't eat me, eat the largest one." Where is I can't find any water. He finally found a pitcher and tried to drink water, but his beak didn't reach it.
But the youngest pig said, "You're not coming in." And the wolf puffed and huffed. And the house was gone. And the youngest pig ran to the middle pig's house.
One day he was so thirsty, and he fly for searching for the water. Then in last he saw a pitcher. Then when they were halfway on the bridge, the wind rustled, and Death spoke to them. Death was not happy that he had been cheated out of 3 new victims, as for travelers usually died in that lake. But Death was cunning. And he asked the 3 brothers for a reward since they cheated. Went to a village and killed the man who had quarreled with him. And he boasted about the wand. But late at night, a wizard stole it and slit his throat to be safe. The second brother went back to his house and married the person he was in love with, who had an untimely death. But she did not like the mortal world, as for she did not belong, and sings his favorite bedtime song. Once he turns on his nightlight, he hears a sound. Tap, tap, tappy tap. What's that sound? He whispers. He climbs out of his bed, grabs his baseball bat tight in his hand, and slowly walks towards the window. He looks through the window. He sees nothing. He thinks it might be a tiny monster, or even a big invisible monster that can eat me in one glove. He panics and hides under his bed, still holding his baseball bat tight in his hand.
Grasshopper. The grasshopper was sleeping in the grass. and ant were working for the winter. And grasshopper wake up.
For the next king, he was worried. He thought and thought, and he finally came to an idea. He said, he called all the village children and gave them one gold seed to know who is the honest person. Then the one boy knew how to plant, and he was very excited. But In the night, instead of sleeping, he watched the plant grow. No, days passed, but not even a single leaf came. In the day, do you know who was the next king?
Ordered their meal, and Uncle said, "Enjoy your meal, everyone." And the wind said, "I will try every of the meal." And everyone started eating very happily. And then no one remembered about their. To narrate the story. The title of the story is The Lion and the Mouse. In our forest there was a lion sleeping. When Mouse came in, he jumped at lion's stomach. Lion wake up and said to the mouse, "Snow White is the fairest of all." After hearing that, the queen tried to get rid of Snow White. Scared, Snow White went into the forest running. In the forest, there lived 7 dwarfs. After a few days, Snow White became friends with the 7 dwarfs. Suddenly, the queen found Snow White. She was dressed like a nice old lady, gave the poison apple to Snow White. "Here you go, a delicious apple, young lady," said the queen. "Thank you," said Snow White.
Then the tortoise said, "Yes, in the day of the race, all of the animals gathered around and they started the race. The hare was winning, but after some time,
They see a tree in the distance. "I'm so hungry," says one hiker. "Do you think that's an apple tree? I want a big crunch with apple." "Nah, that's not an apple tree, that's a pear tree. Pears are my favorite," says the other. "I want a sweet, juicy yellow pear." When they arrive at the tree, there were no apples and pears either. In fact, there were no fruits at all. "Ah, boo," says one hiker. "This is an useless oak tree." Just then, the sky turns gray and starts to rain. The 2 hikers run under the oak tree to stay dry. It rains and rains, but the hikers
Gave him some boiled seeds. And then one boy knew how to grow plants. And then he gave the plant best amount of sunlight, best amount of soil, the best amount of water, the best amount of shade. But it still grew.
I'm at the Heathrow. Madison Halsworth, I said to myself. It's London Zoo for you, I guess. Instead of which, I'm back with the family. Boy, am I glad to be here. Thank you.
thank you, Sudhiti Dahal. Now I would like to call Sonam.
Up and said, "Why are you in my bag?" And the mouse said, "Sorry, one day I'm gonna help you." Then the next day, the lion got captured by 2 hunters. Then the lion called the mouse and said, help me, I'm stuck." And the lion said, and the mouse said, "Okay." Then the mouse threw the rope and started throwing every rope. Then the lion got out from the rope and started chasing the hunters. When the hunters went far enough, the lion said, "Let's be good friends." Good friends.
Thank you.
Thank you, Viva. Now I would like to call Swarnim Wadley on the stage. Everyone, please clap for him.
Good afternoon, respected judges, honorable teachers, and my dear friends. The man's jacket stays on. Goodness, this is impossible, says the man. And he stops blowing. The wind stops blowing. My turn, says the sun. First, the sun shines enough to stop the snow. Then the sun gently shines towards the man.
The birds were silent, and my mom didn't yell, "Wake up! You'll be late!" I glanced at the clock. 8 a.m. I waited. 8 a.m. I waited still. 8 a.m. That's when it dawned on me that time had stopped. I looked out of the window. The cars were suspended in the middle of the road, and the birds were in mid-air, wings outstretched, and the dog's bark was lingered in the air, unfinished. Even my neighbor's dramatic yawn was trapped halfway. Panic washed me over. Then a grin crept across my face. No homework, no schools, no exams. I danced in the middle of the road and had ice cream for breakfast. But suddenly I felt lonely. There were no laughter, because laughter needs time to exist. No conversation, because conversation needs seconds to exist. Then I saw a note drifting in the air. It read, "You say you never had enough time." I thought about it. We say, "I'm busy, unprepared, and waiting for the right moment." But when time finally stopped, life stopped with it. I murmured, "I'm sorry." Suddenly, my mom's voice rang out, "Wake up! You'll be late!" And the birds began to sing. I smiled, because that day I learned something important. Time isn't the enemy. We just forget to live within it. Thank you.
Once upon a time, a crow was very hungry but did not get anything to eat. He got tired and decided to sit on a branch of a tree. Suddenly, he saw a piece of cheese on a plate. He flew near the plate and picked it up in its beak. On his way, he saw many crows that wanted him to share the cheese with them. "Can you share it with us? Can you share it with us?" they said. Cleverly, the crow avoided all of them and found a quiet place to sit on a branch of a tree. A cunning fox saw him. Her mouth started watering. "Wow, that looks so yummy. I want to have a bite." She quickly made a plan to take the cheese from the crow. She said sweetly, "Hi, handsome crow. You look so amazing. My friends told me that crows are very sweet and kind. Is it true? I have never heard a crow singing a song. Would you please sing for me?" The crow was surprised because no one had ever praised his voice before. But he kept quiet. "Shh." The fox continued, "You look so handsome with your shiny feathers. Would you please sing for me?" The crow begged. "Please, please." The crow was carried away with the fox's words and he started singing by opening his beak. Quack, quack, the cheese fell. The fox ate it all. And then the fox ran away. The crow finally realized what he had done. Oh no, what have I done? I should not have done that. The cheese fell. That was the only thing I could find to eat. I was so hungry. The crow felt very bad. He should not have trusted the fox at all. The moral of the story is beware of people who compliment you for their own good. They are not to be trusted. Thank you.
Responsibilities. Years later, he became successful and happy. Always grateful for learning lessons. He learned that time once lost could never regain. Thank you.
Today I am going to elocute the story. The topic of my story is the lion and the mouse. Once upon a time, there was a forest. There lived lion and the mouse. On one day, lion was sleeping in the cave, and mouse came and started to play in lion's body. And suddenly, the lion waked up and he said, I will kill you. And mouse said, don't kill me. I will help you one day. And lion showed his kindness and freed the mouse. On one day, lion was walking in the forest. There was a hunter, and hunter trapped the mouse.
Well, you have opened my book, you have turned the page. You are now in ancient Greece, standing on my mountain. You had better come up. No, I am not a ghost. No, I am not a giant. I am a god. Yes, a god. But come up higher so you don't have to shout. I am tired of shouting. Steep, isn't it? Too steep for most people, and the air is so thin you may get out of bed. Take your time, I'm in no hurry. There, you made it. Welcome. Welcome to Mount Olympus. Have you ever climbed so high, or looked out across such vast distances, or stood so far above the earth? Sit down, choose a rock and make yourself comfortable. And now I will tell you who I am. I am Zeus, the great god Zeus, and I rule over all other gods and goddesses. There now up in the sky are two of my children, Apollo wheeling the sun away till tomorrow morning, and Artemis rolling out the moon. And the winged horse over there, that's Pegasus. He takes me in my chariot wherever I want to go. I will tell you more about him, Apollo and Artemis later. So after some time, the visitors freshened up, got ready, and this time Zeus said another thing. These are not my only children. I have multiple children, but these are the ones who are in their hard-working stage. The other children have already done what they wanted and have done good work and have done their hard work. So, I am proud of them, and I hope these batch of my children
School full of worms. A student named Sam had an exciting day at school. They had a new pet in their class. So exciting! He ran back home and told Spider, Spider, we got an exciting news today. We got a pet in our class. Spider said, that's exciting. Now let's go out and play. They ran back out and started playing. After this, tomorrow was Sam's day to take care of the new pet. He picked up the tank and went home.
A voice came back from the woods. I hate you. Leo was shocked. He tried it again. You are a coward. The voice again replied, you are a coward. Leo ran to his grandfather and said, "There is a mean boy in woods." Grandfather smiled and took him back to the woods. "Now say something nice," he suggested. Leo tried it. "I like you."
All night it was a dark because the firelight was very bright. One day, Hippo asked Fire to visit him. "Thank you very much," said Fire. "Can I come tomorrow?" "That will be very nice," said Hippo. The two friends said goodbye to each other and went to their homes. The next day, Fire did not wake up until the middle of the morning. He got up and began to walk towards Hippo's house. Suddenly, he saw a bush running away from him. "Why are you running away?" he asked.
Birth to a son. Now he had an heir to take the throne. The whole kingdom rejoiced. But even before the celebrations had ended, the young queen died. The king was heartbroken. In the forest where the king often went hunting lived a woodcutter and his wife. They longed for a child, but many years passed by and no child was born to them. One day, the woodcutter's wife went into the woods, searching for blackberries. She got a little bit lost, lay down, and fell asleep. It was a cry that had woken up the woodcutter's wife. A thin, plaintive, hungry cry. A sad, abandoned baby's cry. She sat up with a shiver. Everything was deathly still. All she could hear was the sharp clipped claws of the rooks and the high-pitched squeaks of the bats. The baby's cry had been a dream. She reassured herself. She scrambled to her feet, feeling wobbly and chilled to the bone. She scooped up her basket, ready to go home, when she saw a huge, rambling, shambling, prickly, thorny walls, positively glistening with the fattest, juiciest blackberries she had ever seen. How could she miss it? She rushed forward. She began to pick the blackberries as fast as she could, so fast that the thorns pricked her fingers, tore at her arm, and the blood ran into the juice. There seemed no end of the profusion of blackberries, and it seems that her basket was full to the brim. Her fingers were quite purple, her legs were scratched, and her skirt was tangled into the thorns. She tried to scramble out, but it seemed that she caught fast. She struggled this way and that in her efforts to get free, but she had been stuck. She was beginning to despair when she heard a faint cry. It was the same.
You'll arrive very soon, but if we go fast, it will take you all day. The man could not believe this strange speech, so he hurried his horse, but the coconuts fell off. Then he had to stop to pick them up. Then he hurried his horse all the more to make up for lost time, but the coconuts fell off again. He did this many times, and it was night when he reached home. Thank you.
About the monkey and the sun. One sunny summer afternoon, it was unbearably heat in the jungle. A monkey who was annoyed with the sun, he was sweating a lot. When he could not bear it longer, he jumped off the tree and started yelling at the sun. "You foolish sun," said the monkey. "Can't you see you are roasting us alive? Turn down the heat." The monkey yelled at the sun. The sun became sad because he was never ever yelled at, especially with those stupid monkeys in the jungle. The sun began to slug. It continued to slug, and it continued to rain for days, weeks, and months. The jungle became squishy and muddy. Slowly, all the animals in the jungle became sick. It was then when that foolish monkey realized his foolishness. He was thinking how to say sorry to the sun. Middle of the morning, he was walking to Hippo's house when suddenly he saw Bush running away from him. Fire stopped and asked Bush, "Why are you running away from me?" Bush replied, "You know exactly why I'm running away from you, because you're hurting me and all the little animals who live inside me." Bush ran far away from Fire. When Bush turned back, he would bush would see fire chasing him.
His shoes, when he woke up the next morning, there were 3 beautiful pairs of shoes. He was surprised by who had helped him to make the shoes. He happily sold it in his market and he got some money to eat dinner. And this kept on going for many days. And one night before Christmas, he thought, who is helping me? I think I should hide behind the sofa and try to find out. So he did hide behind the sofa, and after some time, 3 tiny elves came and were making the shoes. He was surprised by how the elves had made them. And in Christmas, he made some tiny clothes and shoes for the elves.
They used to sell those golden eggs to customers every day, and they lived a comfortable life. One day, the farmer was driven by greed, and he told his wife that he was going to cut the goose open, and the wife foolishly agreed to his idea because they thought that they would find loads of treasures and golden eggs in it. When they cut open the goose, they only found blood and guts in it. They get
And hop right into the story. One fine summer's day, deep in a meadow, a grasshopper was bouncing about, chirping and singing without a care in the world. And bustled by, way down, carrying an enormous ear of corn she was lugging to her nest. Time and time again, Grasshopper watched the ants scurry forwards and backwards, gathering food. Insects, flies, grains of wheat, anything she could find. Never once stopped to admire the glorious day today was, or sit in the rays of the sun. The grasshopper found this difficult to fathom, so he teased the ant as she passed by, saying, "Take it easy there, ant. Why are you working so hard? The day is long, food is plentiful. Come and rest a while and listen to my latest melody." The ant said, "As it happens, dear grasshopper, I'm storing food for the winter, and you should be doing the same. Summer doesn't last forever. You know it." Snapped Ant, shaking her head, rolling her eyes as she continued on her own industrious ways. If anything wasn't toiling a little harder, Grasshopper guffawed at the idea of working on such a day. So he jiggled and wiggled and bounced right into the sunset. Summer doesn't last. It never does. Winter came, bringing barren fare and frosty fields. Grasshopper's song stuck on his throat without shelter or sustenance, shaking wistfully at the ants perched liberally on the stores of food, shaking their heads at him, offering him nothing. "How foolish have I been," wailed Grasshopper. Only then he did understand that he should have made provision for the winter as the ants said. Now the story has came to an end. The moral of the story is you need to make provision or plan ahead before something actually happens. Thank you.
"I am the most powerful," says the wind. "No, I am the most powerful," says the sun. "I can blow trees to the ground," brags the wind. "I can push ships across the ocean. I can make hurricanes and tornadoes." "Is that right?" replies the sun. "Well, I can melt down all the snow on the mountains. I can blind an entire lake."
Like the mouth of a giant beast. His heart was knocking. He was terrified from the inside and scared from the outside. Without anticipation, he said to himself, "If I don't do this, then I will never do this. I'll just walk forward and close my eyes." So he walked forward, closing my eyes. He ran and ran until he saw a glimpse of light in the distance. He thought for a while. "What is that? Is that stars? Wait, no, that's not stars. Stars cannot be here."
If you go slowly, you will reach back home early. If you hurry your horse, it will take you all day long to reach back home. The man could not believe this speech, so he hurried his horse but the coconut fell. He had to stop to pick the coconut up. He hurried his horse again, but the coconut fell. He had to stop to pick the coconut up. He did this many times. At last, he reached back home late at night. The moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. Thank you.
Animals. Bolu the bear, Bagheera the panther, Kaa the python, Sekhan the evil tiger. Among others, Mowgli the man-cub boy was fostered by wolves after Bagheera saved him from the evil tiger Satan as a baby. As the story follows, Mowgli's fearless had big dark oak tree. He often heard people telling tales, such as some spoke wisely and some spoke things that couldn't be true, such as a woman climbing an elephant jumped over a fence, or a man who had never made a mistake. As time passed, he felt less to the need of speaking and more to the need of listening. One day, he saw a young boy helping an old man carry his heavy basket. The next day, he saw a girl shouting at her mom for not getting her favorite purse. As time passed, he talked less and listened more. He noticed something in people. Some grew wiser and some grew worse. But he grew wiser and wiser each day. The moral of the story is to speak less and listen more. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Hungry Dog, but I don't have any food for you until later. The dog licked her hand. He was sorry too. I will go into the village, he said, and I will see if anyone has any scraps of food that I can eat. As soon as he reached the village, he made straight for the butcher shop. He looked at all the meat in display. The more he saw, the more his mouth watered more. The more his mouth watered more.
The gander always helped everybody in every problem. They all lived happily. One day, the gander saw creepers growing in the stump of the banyan tree. Then he said to the other geese, "Look, there are creepers growing here. We have to take them out, or some hunter can climb it and trap us," said the wise old gander. Then the geese said, "You foolish old gander, why would you take out these? These look so beautiful," said the geese. Then the gander started working by himself. He was also lonely, so they quickly became friends. They would talk every day, and in the other man's side there was a window that he looked outside and described everything. He would say there are some children playing, or some people selling balloons, a parade, etc. One day, again and again and again, when he reached home, it was night. Thank you. The king and his 3 sons. One day, eager to know who loved him the most, the king asked him, "How much do you love me?" The eldest son replied, "I love you more than gold." The king was delighted. The second son replied, "I love you more than diamonds." The king was elated. The youngest son replied, "I love you more than salt." The king was furious. Coconuts loaded his horse heavily with the fruit. On the way home, he met a boy whom he asked how long it would take to reach the house. "If you go slowly," said the boy, looking at the load on the horse, "you will arrive soon. But if you go fast, it will take you all day." The man was confused and could not believe this strange speech, so he hurried his horse, but the coconuts fell off, and he had to stop to pick them up. It took more time than he expected it to take. "Oh, I'm so tired," he said, picking up the last coconut. Then he hurried his horse all the more to make up for the lost time, but the coconuts fell off again. "No, no, no," he exclaimed with a frown on his face. Many times he did this. It was night time when he reached his house.
The moral of the story is slow and steady wins the race. Thank you.
He was also very shy. Whenever the teacher asked a question, he knew the answer, but he never raised his hand. One day, the teacher announced, "Students, we will going to have a storytelling competition next week." Everyone clapped, but Arav whispered to his friend, "Oh no, I can never speak on stage." His friend smiled and said, "Arav, you tell the best stories. You should try." Arav shook his head and said, "No, my voice is too small." That evening, Arav told everything about school to his mother. His mother listened quietly and said kindly, "Arav, even the smallest voice becomes strong when the person speaks with courage." The next day, the teacher asked, "Who wants to participate?" There was a silence in class. Arav's heart was beating fast. His mind said, "Sit down." But his heart said, "Stand up." Slowly, very slowly, he raised his hand. The teacher said, "Excellent, Arav." The next day, it was the competition day. He stood on stage and he took a deep breath and began. As he spoke, he forgot his fear. His voice became clear and confident. After he finished, there was a huge clap, clap, clap. He finished and his teacher said, "Well done, Arav, you did a great job." He told to himself, "My voice was not small, my fear was." The moral of the story is we should have confidence while speaking. Thank you.
And said, "My father, I love you more than gold. Gold is precious. So are you." The king had a big smile in his face. "That was a precious answer, my son." Then the second child stepped forward and said proudly, "My father, I love you more than diamonds. Diamonds are rare and valuable, just like you." The king clapped his hands. The king was elated. Then the quiet and thoughtful son stepped forward and said, "My father, I love you more than salt." The room filled with silence. "More than salt?" the king shouted angrily. "How dare you compare your love to me with something so cheap and common?" So, in the king's rage, he banished his youngest son and ruled all the salt to be taken away from the kingdom. Days passed. Then, something strange began to happen. When the king sat down to eat his meal, the food tasted dull and lifeless. "This food has no taste. No matter how rich the food is, it still gives me no flavor," the king complained. Without salt, the king could not get enough nourishment he really needed. Days passed, and the king became weaker and weaker and ill. One morning, while the king was resting on his bed, barely able to move, a visitor had arrived, and it was his youngest son, who had prepared a bowl of warm salty broth and helped the king drink it. Then, tears filled the king's eyes. He slowly walked to his youngest son and said, "My son, salt may be simple, but without it, life is tasteless." So, what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is, true love is not always loud and shiny, but it is essential. Thank you.
She tarnished her sacred space. She cursed her to have snake hair and as a fire. With With just a glance, she could petrify you within seconds. In this story, Medusa was not the villain, but she was rather a victim of crime and abuse of the sea god and did not get justice. The fire eyes and snake hair represent the anger of a woman who has experienced incidents and did not get justice. Thank you.
Not see where he was going. As he was walking, he tripped over a creepy fat cat. Ah! The monkey yelled as he fell and hit the bottom. Splash! Yuck! I'm covered in this stinky litter. The monkey had fallen into it. Deep, dark, stinky sewer. He was trapped and terrified because he could not get out. A little while later, a foolish chicken walked by and saw the monkey down there. Hey monkey, what are you doing down there? Asked the chicken. Hi chicken, come down here so we can play and have a nice swim, said the monkey. I don't know what is that awful smell, said the chicken. The monkey replied, it only stinks up there. So the silly chicken decided to jump down. As soon as he did, the monkey climbed.
Were beautiful, green, and fresh. Mohan's farm was just a dry field with some dry grass. One day his uncle thought, why not to teach him a lesson? So he called Mohan and said, Mohan, these are two seeds, one of ambitious and one of laziness. The ambitious seed was shiny and bright, but the laziness seed, just a dark pitch. So he handed him over two seeds and said, plant these both seeds